They didn't even hesitate. The second the lawyer slid the envelope across the table and said the words 38 million, my mother's hands were already tearing it open. My father yanked the check from inside like it was a weapon aimed at their throats. And then they burned it, right there, in the ashtray meant for legal cigars. Flames licking the corners like it owed them something. I just watched, didn't scream, didn't move. I smiled. Because what they destroyed wasn't the money. My grandfather died with a legacy too large for any room. But it wasn't the mansions or stocks or the empire with his name carved into steel and glass that mattered most to him. It was me, the only one who ever sat in silence and listened, who showed up, not for favors or handouts, but to read to him when his eyesight gave out, to walk with him even when he forgot who I was. He remembered one thing, though. He remembered love, and he knew mine was real. My parents didn't like that. They tolerated me the way people tolerate weak sunlight, visible but barely warming the room. I wasn't useful, not like my brother, the golden heir with the MBA and perfect hair. Not like my mother, who knew how to play the grieving daughter while eyeing inheritance clauses. I was the shadow they resented, quiet, observant, forgettable. Until the will. To my granddaughter, the lawyer read, unfolding a second page, I leave 38 million for everything she gave me when no one else did. That's when the room cracked. My mother laughed, shrill, high, dangerous. My father stood up so fast his chair slammed backward. I didn't flinch. They called it a mistake, demanded a correction, threatened the lawyer, tried to grab the document. When he calmly pulled out the check, signed, notarized, legal, they lost it. My father ripped it from the table, pulled out his lighter. "You think you're going to destroy this family?" he hissed. "You'll walk out of here with nothing." He lit it, held it until the flames kissed his fingers, then dropped it into the tray. I could have stopped him, could have screamed, but I just watched it burn. Because that wasn't the real check. It was a decoy, printed with the same numbers, signed with the same flourish, but backed by nothing. A showpiece, a spark. The real transfer happened 48 hours earlier. My grandfather, sharp until the end, had wired the funds to a trust in my name, buried beneath a shell company, untraceable, untouchable, ironclad. The check was never about the money. It was bait. You see, I knew they'd try to take it, because this wasn't the first time. When I was 17, they drained my college fund behind my back, said it was a temporary family emergency. I found out months later, after the ski trip photos surfaced online. When I confronted them, they told me to grow up, said it was their money to begin with. That was the day I stopped calling them family. I learned, watched, waited. Grandpa taught me business in whispered bedside talks, taught me contracts, leverage, risk. Don't fight fire with fire, he said. Let them burn themselves out, then walk through the ashes. So I planned. 2 months before he passed, I told him what they'd done to me. He didn't look surprised, just nodded, told his lawyer to draft the trust. Then asked me one question. Do you want revenge? I didn't answer, but I smiled. So when they torched that check, they thought they'd won. They thought I'd go home empty, humiliated, erased. What they didn't know was, by burning it, they signed their own end. The trust was set up with a clause. If they ever contested the inheritance or tried to interfere in my share, their own distributions would freeze permanently. And they did both, on camera, in front of a lawyer, hands black with ink and ash. The fallout was beautiful. 2 weeks later, their accounts locked, credit lines pulled, board seats revoked. Turns out, Grandpa had left just enough to keep their lifestyle afloat, as long as they behaved. They didn't, and I didn't stop them. Now, They're selling the beach house. My brother's car got repossessed last Thursday. My mother started calling people she once mocked. I hear my name a lot these days, in courtrooms, in whispers, in desperation, but not in gratitude. That's fine. I didn't do this to be thanked. I did it so they'd never mistake silence for weakness again. They burned the check thinking they'd erased me, but all they destroyed was their last illusion of control. Ashes don't scare me. I was born in them. And I learned how to build from the soot. Let them choke on the smoke. I already cached the future.